I'd like to introduce Joy from the US, who takes LDN for Hashimoto's thyroiditis to boost her endorphin levels and to control her antibodies. Thank you for joining me, Joy.
I'm glad to be here.
Could you tell me about your condition? How old were you when you first noticed you had something wrong?
I first had my first big crash probably with my thyroid in 2008, and it just flew under the radar, and I would get better and then I would get worse. And in 2011 I hit rock bottom. All the fuel went out of my tank. My thyroid was not producing enough T3 for me to have any sense of well-being. My endorphin issues, I do believe, came forward probably in my teenage years, and I used opiates as a young adult and was treated for that addiction in my early 20s and was given Naltrexone at full dose, which made me feel absolutely terrible. When I heard about LDN for the thyroid, I thought, ooh, I don't like Naltrexone. It made me feel absolutely horrible. But after reading some articles and talking to other patients, I found out it was very effective at lowering antibodies, which affect how my thyroid was working.
So before you started on LDN, what would you have said your quality of life was like on a score of 1 to 10, and 10 being the best?
Before LDN, I think it was probably maybe up to a 6, because I had started taking thyroid hormone, a natural thyroid product that had boosted me up. Before I started taking that, I was about at a 2.
Right.
So just the hormone helped, and then the LDN was kind of the next step for me.
And how were you able to get a prescription for LDN?
I went, I went through a website and ordered Nodict from India and had it shipped to myself, and I mixed my own with distilled water and dose myself accordingly that way.
Okay. And when you first started, did you notice any introductory side effects?
I had some what I called 3-dimensional dreams. They weren't disturbing, they weren't upsetting, but they were extremely vivid, where things looked like they were, it was like very much 3-dimensional, like being in a 3D movie. That faded after about a week.
Right. And how long did it take before you started to notice improvement?
Actually, within the first week, I had to lower my thyroid medication by about 20%.
Goodness.
Yes, it was quite fast.
Okay. What else have you noticed whilst being on LDN?
My antibodies came down when I did my last lab work. They came down probably 50%. They're still a little bit over the acceptable range, but they're headed in the right direction. And that was when I was only taking 1.5 milligrams. I've been on 3 for quite a while, and I haven't retested.
Okay. When did you start LDN?
I started in May of 2012.
Right. So it's still quite early days. 3 months?
Yes, I'm in my 3rd month and almost to my 4th month.
And what would you say your quality of life is now on the scale of 1 to 10?
I think it's bumped it up probably to an 8.
Right.
If LDN helped my perimenopausal hormone issues, then it would be a 10. But it doesn't seem to be helping that.
Right. Although it does help with a lot of women's problems. I had
good.
quite a few talks with Dr. Phil Boyle. Yes. Don't know necessarily menopausal, but certainly with things like endometriosis and things like that, which myself it really helped with, and I didn't realise it was the LDN until I was talking to him and said I thought it was my age that, you know, everything had stopped and the pain, and he said no, it was the LDN, so that was quite a plus. But I would say that LDN continued in helping me improve for about 18 months. So as I say, it's early days for you yet. It'd be interesting to see, you know, how far it takes you really. It's very interesting. Perhaps you'll keep us updated.
I'd love to.
And what would you say to other people who are considering trying LDN for thyroid problems but may be a little bit sceptical?
I would say take it to find a doctor, or, you know, if they want to do the self-treatment route like I did, they need to do their research and their reading before they do that. I also would give a caveat to have their thermometers ready and their pulse ox ready, and to know all the signs of over-medicating with thyroid medication to where the thyroid gets too active, because if they respond like I do, they'll need to lower their dose pretty quickly.
I would have to say it's everybody's personal choice, but actually importing LDN from India isn't actually legal, and obviously it's each individual's choice what they want to do. But I do realise that's the only way some people can get it. I just had to point that out. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I guess I would have a question, and because I know so many people who have autoimmune issues, fibromyalgia, and I would love to know how to better share to where they can talk to their doctors about this, because I've told several people and they are excited. They talk to their doctors and their doctors shake their head like, oh, that's, you know, quackery. And you know, I've given them websites and tell your doctor to go look here. Now, I do have a personal friend who's a physician, and she is quite excited because she has some autoimmune issues herself.
Right.
But as a general rule, it seems like a lot of doctors are turned off to it. What is your answer to?
Well, we've had great success with our doctor's information pack. We get people to print it off and take it to their own GPs, and the success rate of that is very high, getting doctors to prescribe it once they've read the information. Having said that, I still have to get mine privately. My doctor won't prescribe it for me. But there are, I mean, I interviewed a lady today and her neurologist prescribes it for her, which I thought was really good news.
That is great.
Yes, there are more neurologists coming on board for people with multiple sclerosis, which is good. A few rheumatologists, but it's the word is spreading slowly. It's slowly getting out there. But thank you very much for your input. I really appreciate it.
No, it's my pleasure, and it's great to hear from you.